Hi, good evening. My name is Joanna Steele. Welcome to the Ghanaian Londoners networking event. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my Ghana journey thus far. So who am I? So as I mentioned, my name is Joanna Steele. I am of Jamaican descent, born and bred in North London. I've worked in the digital marketing and e-commerce industry for almost 15 years. The majority of my experience in the UK with brands you may be familiar with: Sainsbury's, Argos, Mothercare, London 2012 Olympics. And I've worked in those companies doing a variety of roles, but essentially leveraging digital marketing techniques to grow brand visibility, sales, and revenue. So a little bit about me. God, what can I say? I'm a social person. I'm a big music fan. I'm also a big Spurs fan. And I moved to Ghana, and it's weird saying that because I still feel like I've got one foot here and one foot in the UK, but essentially sort of my longest stint in Ghana began towards the end of last year. And I'll get into that into a bit more detail. What I now do, I am still a digital marketing and e-commerce strategy consultant, but I run my own business called Dimax, which is a digital agency that uses insight-driven planning, creativity, and technology to help businesses in Central and West Africa, as well as those interested in those markets, with their digital strategies to drive growth. So how did my Ghana journey start? Basically 2019, I took a sabbatical. So I was still employed in the UK at that time, and I wanted to take a 6-month sabbatical. A lot was going on in my life, relationship breakdown, and I also lost my mother as well. And so there were a number of emotions during that time, and a lot of sort of deep thinking around things that I've always wanted to do that I should just do, right? Because life is so short. So I asked to work for a sabbatical, they agreed, and I traveled South America, Southeast Asia, and then I ended up in Ghana for the year of return. I'd always worked alongside my day job in a consultancy capacity for, you know, friends, people with small businesses, associates, people in my network and beyond, and also did a little bit of work with a couple of companies on the continent, largely in Congo, DRC, and Equatorial Guinea. So, but some of that had been remote, and some of that I had flown there to kind of deliver on some of those projects. So I'd always dabbled alongside my sort of day job in the UK. So when I ended up in Ghana for the year of return, it was admittedly, you know, the end of my sabbatical. So I was there to relax, enjoy, have fun. But obviously I'd known what was, because I've been doing my research and reading around what was happening in the tech space in Africa, I used the opportunity to explore some of the potential business opportunities while I was in Ghana in 2019. So I went to a number of conferences. I connected with a number of people within the tech and digital space and met with them face to face. And so it really helped me kind of understand what was going on in the tech ecosystem, in the digital space on the ground. I returned back to the UK, handed in my notice at work, and decided that I was going to do my consultancy full-time. So full-time focusing on businesses, particularly African-focused businesses. And then I returned to Ghana later on that year in March with the Ghanaian Londoners trade mission, and then later returned to Ghana later on in 2020 to really be on the ground for a long period of time, get to know the business landscape, you know, really sort of work with my business partners who I actually met at an event on the trade mission. And yeah, kind of deep exploration, really understanding clients' needs, and yeah, luckily in the short space of time signed up some clients and have been working with a number of Ghanaian clients ever since. So I hope that kind of talked you through my journey a bit. What am I currently doing here? So I am working with business partners currently to deliver digital marketing services. So anything from digital marketing strategy to social media management to paid Google ads, you know, working with a number of clients. We've got a pensions client, an arts institute we did some work with recently, did a big social media campaign with them. We've just got a new e-commerce client that we're working with. So our client base kind of ranges from sort of tech startups to you know, institutes with a 60-year history. So yeah, it's a wide sort of variety of contacts and clients that we're kind of working with at the moment. So why Ghana? Obvious reasons. It's English speaking, and as I mentioned, when I visited in 2019, I really saw the growth and the potential of the tech ecosystem. In terms of VC investment, Ghana is, I believe, 4th or 5th after South Africa, Kenya, Egypt, I believe, and also, I've got my notes here, Nigeria, in terms of investment into the tech ecosystem. So Ghana is coming up there, so I can definitely see huge potential, particularly in the tech and digital space. You would have heard, of course, that Twitter will be opening their African headquarters in Ghana. You know, stability in terms of government, democracy, and also it's neighbouring Nigeria, right? So Nigeria is a huge market and there's a lot going on there in the tech space. And it's definitely a country that I'm looking at the business exploring into. But sort of Ghana was kind of, for me, a good sort of testing ground and the gateway into other countries within West and then moving on to Central Africa. My ambition is the whole of the continent, but I'm sort of starting Central and West Africa first because that's where I have the connections, that's where I have the knowledge, and that's where I see a lot of the kind of immediate growth in the tech space happening. Another thing about Ghana, you know, internet penetration is one of the highest in the continent, so it's coming up to 50% of people in the country are connected to the internet. Huge scope for growth, but one of the strongest in the whole of the continent. And so therefore that means that businesses are going to be looking to really talk, communicate and sell to that digital customer. And so yeah, in terms of sort of what my business does and what the work that I do with my partners does, it helps those clients really better understand what they need to do in order to engage with that customer online, in order to serve that customer, you know, personalized and engage in digital experiences. So yeah, so you know, the platform or the landscape is ripe really for the work that I do. My experience so far, it has been mixed. So largely it's been really positive. As I mentioned, my first stint here, I was in Ghana for 8 months. And yeah, it's been largely positive. There were a few things that get on your nerves. You do realize quite quickly that processes in some instances don't exist, and then other instances they do exist. So there's like a stark contrast between how successful you might be in doing something. One thing I know is that banks, the banking system is just hideous. Everything takes 10 times as long as it should do and costs, you know, more than it should do as well. So I have to say the banking system really does need a shake-up. I am going through getting Vodafone installed in my apartment at the moment, and so far so good. The process has been okay. The installation hasn't happened yet, but I'm very clear on the steps and everything has happened as they have said it would thus far. In terms of working with Ghanaian clients, I've got a few things here. Quite often they want the world on, you know, the smallest of budgets. There's a tendency for scope creep as well, so you have to kind of nip that in the bud and be very clear about what you're delivering, what you've been paid to deliver, and what that does include and what that doesn't include. In terms of payment, generally speaking, okay, but you know, I've adopted a policy whereby no work begins until the first instalment of, you know, first amount, agreed amount is paid. I think we're in an emerging market, so I think my expectations have definitely been, well, I didn't have any expectations, I suppose I should say. And so that meant that sort of coming in, I've kind of taken things as it's happened. But what I will say is that some things that I think are quite basic in terms of the service I deliver, me and my team deliver. So in terms of the reporting, in terms of the, you know, insights, in terms of the client management, account management, it's sort of basic things, you know, weekly calls or monthly calls or end of month reports, all of that sort of stuff. And actually that is out of this world for some clients that we're working with here, and it's not what they're used to. So that's been quite an eye-opener for me to know that, you know, some of the basic things that we kind of do in business or definitely in digital, you know, it's not something that they come across quite regularly with other sort of agencies or other people they've worked with. And so sort of that's in essence, you know, Dimax's unique selling point. It's about having that attention to detail. It's about doing kind of what is the basics, what is the standard, and actually that does set you apart. I think I mentioned sort of other things in terms of my experience. People disappear. So you could be having lengthy conversations. I think this happens in business generally, but you could be having lengthy conversations, you know, you can even get to proposal stage and then, you know, you just don't hear anything. It's not even a, you know, thanks but no thanks, or, you know, maybe later, like it is a sort of deadly silence. And that's happened a few times, which is a little bit annoying. But I must add, it doesn't just happen with Ghanaian clients, but it's happened here, or maybe I'm just more aware of it here. So that can get my nerves a bit, because for me, business is about nurturing relationships. And if you're unable to do something, or if you are, you know, if you've changed your mind about something, maybe you can't afford the services, it's still really good to sort of let someone know, because that feedback can be fed into someone's business. So that's another thing that I've experienced, which is a bit annoying. Any advice or tips for anyone else who's looking to invest, do business, or relocate? I think one of the things a few things actually. So do your research, go to events like Ghanaian Londoners. There's a lot of events that happen at Chatham House as well, regarding different things that are happening on the continent. So, you know, attend those. I'm guessing they're going to be back in person now too as well. Reach out to people who are doing work in this space, ask questions, you know, speak to experts, speak to people that have done it, are doing it, and sort of, it's funny because everyone's experience is different, everyone's path is different, but there are some similarities on things that people can sort of point your way. But what I will say is just, it's very important to be on the ground as much as possible. Even if you're kind of going to be in sort of 2 to 3 month stints or 6 month stints and go back, it's just really important to be on the ground, particularly if you're working with clients here, because, you know, they want to know that you're here. Even though I work digitally and, you know, essentially all I need is a laptop and my internet connection. You know, there are some instances where they like to do face-to-face interviews. Even when it comes to the selling and onboarding process, they like to see you. I'm doing some training this week with a client, which is going to be face-to-face to about 25 employees. They were not entertaining doing that online, despite it being a course training about social media, but they were adamant that it needs to be face-to-face. So yeah, I think really bear that in mind, that being on the ground is where you'll get your learnings. Being on the ground is where you'll really sort of understand what's going on and how best to navigate. But yeah, there are loads of WhatsApp groups that you can sort of join. I'm a member of a few, and there's a whole load of sort of discussion around people doing business, people visiting, relocating and investing. And I would also say kind of take your time with it as well. Don't rush into doing things like, you know, setting up everything, and sort of really sort of take your time with it, because that's what I've been doing. In terms of setup, I'm not quite there yet, but I know what I have to do. I'm talking to the right people to make sure that I make the correct decisions on how I sort of set up my business here versus it being in the UK and all of those sorts of things. So yeah, I'd say don't rush, be measured in your approach, but you know, go for it really. You know, nothing's going to happen without any action. So yeah, I hope that's answered most of the questions. And yeah, you can hit me up. My business is dimaxdigital.com. That's D-I-M-A-X digital.com. You can find us on all social media channels. Follow us on all channels. Me, myself, Joanna Steele. Again, follow me on all channels. My Instagram is at joanna.diana.steele with an E. I am at Miss Steele on Twitter. Yeah, or, you know, reach out to me through Adjoa and the Ghanaian Londoners Network if you need to. Hope that's been helpful, and good luck.